Are you a fan of pro wrestling, comedy, and combat sports? Then we have the podcast for you because we cover that and much, much more.
Do you like to debate with your friends? Do we have the perfect segment for you? It's the 531, where we take any given subject, break it down to a top 5. From there, we debate it down to 3, and then into that number 1 spot.
If you want to get a hold of us, find us on our social medias. Search Working Fans Podcast on any major social media platform. And if you want to find the podcast, search for us on any major podcast platform, as well as YouTube.
Working Fans Podcast. We put in the work so you don't have to.
Welcome back for another edition of Working Fans Presents Horror Business. We are 8 days in, Horror Business episode 11, and today we are talking about the 2003 movie Freddy vs. Jason. Now, this movie was an hour and 37 minutes, directed by Ronnie Yu. It's another R rating, as most of these Nightmare on Elm Streets have been. It had a $30 million budget, and opening weekend in US and Canada brought in $36,400,000, and that opening weekend was August 17th, 2003. Now, the gross in US and Canada was $82,633,448, while the gross worldwide was $116,643,421. Now, in the movie, it's been nearly 10 years since Freddy Krueger terrorized people in their dreams, and the town folks want to keep it erased from their memory. Freddy still has one more plan on getting back to Elm Street. It's to resurrect Jason Voorhees, and he sends him off to kill. The more bodies which fall to the ground, the stronger Freddy becomes. This is until Freddy realizes that Jason isn't just going to step aside easily and must be taken down himself. Now, the major actors in this movie: Robert Englund returned as Freddy Krueger. Ken Kersinger was Jason Voorhees. Kelly Rowland played Kia Watterson, and that's Kelly Rowland from, I believe, Destiny's Child, early acting role for her. Monica Keena was Laurie Campbell. Jason Ritter was Will Rollins. Catherine Isabel played Gib. Christopher Rodriguez Marquette played Charlie Lindemann. Brendan Fletcher played Mark Davis. Tom Butler played Dr. Campbell. Lachlan Monroe played Deputy Scott something. I can't read the last name. Kyle LeBire played Bill Feinberg. And Zach Ward played Bobby Davis. Now, sorry for dropping some of those names there, but that was like, you didn't need that much of the cast. This was, I thought, a very fun movie. When the movie first came out, I really liked the soundtrack and just never made it around to seeing the movie. It was a fun movie, I thought, moved along quickly. And one thing I enjoyed was, having watched so many of these Freddy movies in a row, I think the fact that the movie featured a little more Jason might have been why I enjoyed it a little more. Now, on IMDb, this got rated 5.7 out of 10. And that's the first half of the show, kind of giving you a rundown. I would definitely recommend this movie. It's fun. It goes by quick. It's hour 37. That's getting into a slightly longer movie. Like, I like the hour and a half and under. This is approaching 2 hours, but it doesn't feel like it. Very good movie. If you want to find a starting point maybe to get into the series, I'd recommend this one. Now, you've been enjoying these Halloween episodes, and we couldn't do these without the Pro Wrestling Vault Volume 1 and Lance by Chance, written by Vinnie Barry, Both these books are available at wrestleville.com. Now, all the following books that I'm about to mention are available on amazon.com. And those include Super Vows and Pas de Deux, written by friend of the show, Kevin Kelton. Check out these books, 2 amazing novels, and check out the More Perfect Union podcast to hear more Kevin. I'll Be Here All Week and All That's Left, written by Ward Anderson, as well as his stand-up special. Blood and Fire, the unbelievable real-life story of wrestling's original Sheik, written by Brian R. Solomon. How Not to Suck at Comedy, written by Pat Oates. Matt Memories, written by John Arezzi and Greg Oliver. We are brought to you by the great people over at Connecticut People Records. If you're in Connecticut, need studio time, get a hold of these guys and they will set you up. And we are brought to you by our wrestling commentary home of New Heights Wrestling. Now, if you've been watching these shows, you know I like to end with trivia on the end of them. Now, James Wan was originally going to direct this film, but was already committed to directing Saw, which came out in 2004, and was too busy with other film projects. So this would have been an interesting James Wan film. According to Robert Englund, his makeup was so thick that he couldn't tell how hot it was from the fires during the filming. And when he got in to have his makeup removed, it got bonded to his face. So that cannot be good, especially with who knows what it took to get it off. Standing at 6'5", Ken Kersinger is the tallest actor to date to play Jason Voorhees. I thought that was an interesting little tidbit. Now, the biggest problem that occurred on set was a fight between director Ronnie Yu and Catherine Isabel, who played Gib. Now, Isabel had signed onto the film with the promise that she wouldn't have to do nude scenes, as she has a strict no nude clause in her contract. Now, during the shoot, Yu went back on that promise and repeatedly tried to pressure her to get naked, according to IMDb. They eventually settled on using a body double. Now, the lake at Camp Crystal Lake was also being used to film the final scenes for X2 X-Men United at the same time this movie was being filmed. So the two cast even stayed at the same hotel. I don't know how often that happens. Betsy Palmer, who played Jason's mother in the original Friday the 13th, was asked to reprise her role of Mrs. Voorhees, but turned it down because she felt the role was too small for her. This was the first Freddy movie not filmed in the United States, and the filmmakers had to search for a new house that would resemble the famous Freddy Krueger Elm Street house from the first 7 movies. If I had to guess, I bet this was filmed in Canada. Now, Rob Zombie was also offered to direct this movie, but turned it down to work on his pet project, House of 1,000 Corpses, which we will be covering on October 19th. And the final fact I got for you today were there were plans for a crossover as early as 1987, but New Line Cinema and Paramount Pictures failed to agree on a story or what to do with the 2 series. Paramount Pictures had approached New Line Cinema about filming a crossover several years before, as the latter had gained the licensing rights to Friday the 13th. Negotiations on the project were never finalized, which led Paramount to make Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood. So that was Freddy versus Jason. Let us know in the comments if you saw the movie, if you liked it. I recommended it. And after watching so many Nightmare on Elm Street movies, we are ending tomorrow with the Nightmare on Elm Street 2010 remake. And then Monday, we will be coming at you with Twilight Zone, the movie. So thank you again for tuning in, and I hope we're getting you in that Halloween spirit.